If you're over 65 and you'd like to get stronger, but you feel overwhelmed by how much weight should I use, how many sets, how many reps, how often, you're not alone. Those are some of the most common questions that I get as a physical therapist. And while there's no one right answer, it is helpful to have guidelines. In this video, I'll share research-based guidelines that answer all of those questions. But before we jump into the guidelines, let me first say that doing any strength training is infinitely better than doing none at all. So don't let that overwhelm stop you from getting started on a strength training program. But to find a research-based answer to these questions, I looked at a systematic review and meta-analysis that combined the results of 25 randomized controlled trials from 1984 to 2015. So the information that I'm going to share with you isn't my opinion. It's not the results of one biased study. It's the results of 25 studies spanning 3 decades. So you can be pretty confident in the findings. Now, first of all, you may wonder, is it even possible to get stronger after 65? And these 25 studies that all looked at strength training in older adults found a large effect size for improving strength, meaning it is absolutely possible to get stronger after the age of 65. They found a small effect size for muscle morphology, meaning the muscles got larger to some extent, but they found a significant finding for strength. So you don't need to develop larger muscles in order to get stronger. You can still get stronger after the age of 65. Now, next, what were the primary variables that affected strength? The 3 biggest findings that they found were number 1, training period, number 2, training intensity, and number 3, time under tension. What training period means is how long people trained for in the studies. And the biggest effect size they found was 50 to 53 weeks, meaning people who trained for a year got stronger. So consistency is key. The second variable was intensity. That means how hard are you working or how much weight are you lifting? And what they found was 70 to 79% of the 1 repetition maximum produced the largest gains in strength. Now, the 1 repetition maximum is the maximum amount of weight you can lift one time. And practically that's difficult to determine and sometimes dangerous. But you can approximate that using something called a Holton diagram. This basically says that if you can do this many reps, this is the percentage of the 1 rep max that you're at. At 70%, that would mean you can do 22 repetitions and absolutely no more. At 80%, it would mean you can do 11 repetitions and absolutely no more. Now, interestingly, what they found was 7 to 9 repetitions were actually the range that produced the greatest range of strength. So even though you're working in a range that you can do 11 to 22 reps, 7 to 9 reps were the best strength producers. Now you may wonder why that is, and that comes down to the 3rd key finding that they found was time under tension. And what that means is the total amount of time that your muscles are under tension for each repetition. This one surprised me a little bit, and it was actually 6 seconds. So it's not like you're just moving the weight back and forth. It would be 4 seconds lowering the weight, 2 seconds raising, and another variable that they found was that 4 seconds rest in between repetitions actually produced the largest strength gains. So that would be a 10-second repetition. If you were doing a chest press, you would do lower, 2, 3, 4, raise, 2, rest, 2, 3, 4. Lower, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, rest, 2, 3, 4. And you can imagine that after doing that 7 to 9 times or 70 to 90 seconds, your muscles would be pretty fatigued. Now, another finding that they found was that the ideal frequency was 2 training sessions per week. So you really only need to do 2 resistance training sessions per week in order to see strength gains. Now, some other variables that they looked at were how many sets and how much rest between sets. And what they found was that 2 to 3 sets of each exercise with 60 seconds rest in between was ideal. So combining all of those things that we just talked about, if you're over 65 and you'd like to gain muscle, number one, consistency is key. You need to train for about a year or longer to have the best results. Number two, intensity. You want to use 70 to 79% of your one repetition maximum, which means a weight that you could lift 11 to 22 times without being able to do any more repetitions. Number three is time under tension. You want to push and lower the weight for a total of 6 seconds, which would be about 2 seconds raising and 4 seconds lowering, with 4 seconds rest between each repetition. And then you want to do 2 to 3 sets of each exercise with 60 seconds between, and do that 2 times a week, again for a year, in order to see the best strength gains. Now, what exercises should you do? If you'd like to learn a full body dumbbell workout for seniors, check out this video over here. But before you go, if you found this one helpful, make sure to give it a like and share it with someone else who may need to see it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.